All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. Throughout the time, especially of the pandemic, I've been trying to branch out, I guess, a little bit. And the show was already pretty diverse in terms of content, but I feel like this whole being at home, being on the internet thing has invited a lot more sort of different styles of music and different types of artists really on the show than I potentially would have got when I was doing it, years ago, and actually going to people's houses and jam spaces and whatever and meeting them in person. So I think the guest on this episode probably falls into that category of maybe something that I wouldn't have covered, necessarily earlier, but I'm glad you reached out. And I think you're at least doing something different in the local music scene. So I think the best way to start this off is if you want to introduce yourself and give a bit of background about what it is that you actually do.
Yeah, for sure. My name is Marshal Keep. I'm a comedian and musician and YouTuber. I have just put out a new album, Consensual Handholding. It's a comedy album. It's really fun if you like Bo Burnham or Weird Al Yankovic style stuff. I've been doing YouTube for since like 2017, 2018.
Okay.
And I'm a bit late to the music game, actually. I learned how to play ukulele first, and then I learned guitar, and I'm right now starting to learn production and other instruments. I'm learning piano now. And it's been a journey. This is my first ever big release that I've actually tried to market. So yeah, this is exciting.
Well, maybe a good place to start with all of that is with the YouTube thing, because I was looking at some of your old stuff and it looks like you have a pretty enormous following on YouTube, more than anywhere else. So obviously that time you spent working on it over the past number of years has helped to contribute to that. But how did you get started on that side of things?
Oh yeah. Way I started on that, I started making Reddit videos. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I started making Reddit videos, and those blew up back in 2017. And I also made a video for this guy on YouTube, Jack's Films.
Okay.
He's another YouTuber. He asked oh, hey, make an intro for this show that I'm making, and I made one for him, and that blew up as well. And that's those two kind of things that I did blew me up a lot. And I spent years I did the Reddit videos mainly. Those are what I focused on. And I also kept doing some stuff for Jack's Films here and there because it was fun. It was tradition,
Right.
And that the Reddit videos is what got me the success. And as years went on, the thing on YouTube is that trends die.
Oh, sure. I believe it. Yeah.
Trends die as quickly as they come up. And I was one of a couple people so the YouTubers Soro TV or Soot House. They all came up in this Reddit video scene, and it all kind of petered out a little bit.
Sure.
I think by 2019, 2020, it kind of stopped being a huge thing. And I was kind of frustrated at that because I was just finding my creative explosion, because I was just realizing what I wanted to do, and then all of a sudden everything gets shut down. So that kind of that led to a whole thing. I don't want to. It led to a lot of not great memories of mine.
Okay.
I struggled on YouTube for a while. What the hell I even wanted to do. I tried doing a bunch of different types of content. I eventually found music. And now I'm at a point where I'm not as big as I used to be, but I am comfortable in doing whatever I want. I'm comfortable. I see myself less as a YouTuber, more as a comedian and a musician.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, YouTube is almost a whole. I talk to people every week about from various age groups and backgrounds and genres and everything about the music scene and touring and playing shows and locally or internationally, whatever. And YouTube is a totally different universe. That whole online side of things, it's so different. So it's cool that you got to start in that, and then I'm sure you brought some of that audience over to what you're doing now.
Yes,
whether it's as big as it was at the peak or whatever, it doesn't matter, right?
Of course.
People from
I'm so grateful for people who have stayed, people who still watch my content. I do, I have that fan base, even if it's not as big as it used to be.
Yeah.
I'm still really happy with I'm so thankful for. And the thing is that I have a Patreon, and
Yeah,
there's still people on there who like support me on there, and that is that is very generous of them. It's and so I'm very thankful for all these people who still support me to this day, because they're the real they're the real people who keep me going.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So
Mm.
how did you then? I mean, it sounds like it was a you had some difficulty sort of figuring out what to do
Yes.
after things sort of died down a bit on the
Mm.
YouTube celebrity, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
So I mean, what why music and comedy? I mean, comedy obviously you'd been doing some funny stuff
Mm.
with the videos beforehand, but what made you want to go the music route? Because like you said, it was something you just kind of fell into, right?
Mm. Yeah. Honestly, like my whole life I've been musical. Like I grew up in M2IP.
Okay.
I grew up in like a musical theater company. I did a ton of musicals for them. I don't know. My parents, my dad, he's a singer. And so I don't know. I learned to love music at a very young age. And I kind of drifted away from, like, I remember in high school, I got more into film and I wanted to
Okay.
be a filmmaker. And I don't, and then, so I went to university for film. And then by the end of university, I want nothing to do with film, which is, it's tales old as time.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But I kept going down these other paths, and every time that each path like kind of petered off or didn't go as I wanted, I always came back to music. And I just
Okay.
eventually realized music is my life. Like I love making music. I love listening to music. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind
Yeah.
of up there. But yeah, I was eventually just like, you know what? Screw it. Like I'm just gonna do my thing, and I'm just gonna do it as well as I can. And who cares about views? Like obviously I would love to be successful in this field, but sorry, I haven't answered your question at all.
No,
But
no, it's fine. You know what? Maybe just like
uh,
a way to jump off from that question
yeah.
that you didn't answer is like I guess one of the things that's come up. I mean, I've been, like I said, I've been doing this for 2 years now, doing it online and talking to people as they're dealing with the pandemic. And one of the constant things that comes up is people's kind of inability to get or desire to get things back to how they used to be as performers and as artists and everything. But I mean, it seems like you are sort of tailor made for this kind of situation because all of your experience has been doing things for the internet.
Yes. I've actually been like, obviously, I put all my stuff out on the internet. So like, I guess I am, it is, I can't speak. I cannot speak. I apologize. But,
All good.
yes, I definitely am very much built for the internet. And the thing is, I still don't understand. Sometimes I still don't understand how the internet works, because like some videos work, some don't.
Yeah.
Some like oftentimes it's the videos that I least expect to blow up are the ones that blow up. So in that way, being someone on the internet is kind of a blessing and a curse, a blessing and a curse,
Yeah. Yeah.
because um it allows me, like, the internet allows me to like truly express myself and really put out content I'm really proud of. But also sometimes like just a video of me doing something, like just like a throwaway video, will just be like just blow up.
That's the one that works. Yeah. For whatever
Yeah,
reason.
exactly. I don't know. It's like that's the thing. What I did before initially blew up, I was just doing my own thing, and this one random video that I came up with the idea for at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
that I made, it just randomly blows up. That's been my life. That's been my life. It's just like I'm an accidental celebrity. I'll say that. That's a good way of summing it up.
Sure. Well, and then I guess like now that things are hopefully easing up on the pandemic side,
Yeah.
shows are happening, people are getting out and about. There's a lot of interest in live comedy and in live music, and
Mm,
people are kind of craving both of those things because they haven't been able to go out for 2 years.
yeah.
Do you see this project kind of moving off the internet and going into those
Yes.
spaces as well?
Yes, I would love. I actually did an open mic a couple weeks before the album released,
Okay. Okay.
and I performed a couple songs off the album at the open mic just to see how well they would work in a live setting, and they were phenomenal.
Cool.
I don't know if you heard that song Dave off the album.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. That moment where I say like he's just a dick is where everyone just lost their shit.
That's awesome.
But and it's awesome. So yeah, definitely I really do want to get it off the internet and into live performances, because I remember like right before the pandemic hit, I went to an open mic.
Okay.
And the experience was so awesome. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I want to do this all the time. Then the pandemic hit, and that dream crushed. I was just like, all right, I guess I'll just be sad for a year.
But did that kind of that crushing idea, did that give you sort of motivation to work on this, like to get this kind of made during the time you had, or what?
Yeah, honestly, it that was part of it. There were a lot of factors that helped me like make this album. Like I remember there was one, this is a very weird way to like inspire an album, but like there was this album that was released a while ago called Pink Season by Pink Guy. It's a long ass comedy album. It's really weird and kind of gross, and I don't recommend it. But just the idea of like making a because I'd only made like small little EPs before that. I was like, making like a full-on comedy album would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't listened to the album. I just love the idea of it. The idea of like making like this big project instead of like these tiny little projects. Like, and that's kind of what, pushed me to make something bigger. So yeah, it was that, and definitely like actually like performing, because a lot of songs that I had written, I'd never like shown anyone.
Right.
So like actually getting those songs out and performing them for people other than myself it's a liberating experience. It makes you feel like, oh, I might actually have, and everyone coming up and saying, dude, that was awesome. That was amazing. That helps, right? Like, and then someone actually asked me after I performed, saying like, is that available anywhere? It's like, no, but hopefully soon. And then 2 years later, then yeah, soon.
Now it's available.
Now it's available. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Do you sort of foresee this as being more in the local comedy scene, or do you think it's versatile enough that you could be playing shows with just non-humorous bands as well?
That's an interesting question.
Because there are people who have done it. I mean, a good example locally would be Jay Williams, who he does comedy music, but he also, I mean, one of my old bands played a show with him like 15 years ago, and it was like a punk show, and then he's doing comedy to start. So there's precedent.
I think I never thought about that. I think maybe it could be like as like an opening act. I think songs like Dave and My Little E-Girl would be very interesting as like an opening. Wow, you just gave me an idea there. Thank you. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah. No, I'm just curious, because I mean that's like the music on the record is good. Like it's not. I think it stands alone musically as well as being funny, right? Which is not always a given with a comedy record, because the comedy comes before the record part. Like that's the primary focus, right? But it would be interesting to see how that was received.
The only problem is that a lot of the songs on the record, a lot of songs can't really be performed live.
Okay.
But like this, but there are a lot that can. So like I definitely think they could be fit into like a shorter like on stage format, like an opening act or like an open mic or whatever.
Yeah.
That
would be neat anyway.
Yeah. Because like there's one funny thing about the album is that most of the songs like after the halfway point are like 2 minutes, 1 minute, like really, really short. So like I don't know if I could perform like 1 minute songs. But I don't know. Who knows?
If you're at a punk show, you could. Everyone else is performing 1 minute songs, right? So
fair enough.
Fair enough. Where does the what is the inspiration for the music side of things? Like, what kind of stuff do you listen to? What did you sort of grow up listening to?
Like I said before, Bo Burnham, Al Yankovic,
right?
Huge influences, especially Bo Burnham. But in terms of non-comedy musicians, one of my biggest influences is Ben Folds.
Okay. He has some humorous stuff in there too. Not straight up comedy, but he's got like punchlines and stuff,
He does, yeah. I think, definitely. But like I think just I don't know, just his sound and just the general vibe that he has across his albums, I'm just absolutely in love with, and is someone I come to again and again for inspiration.
Okay.
Also, someone I come back to for inspiration is these guys.
Right.
I mean, it's very, like everyone's inspired by the Beatles. Like it's not something new, but like I did grow up listening to the Beatles a lot, and I do often come like I have a bunch of unreleased songs that definitely sound very Beatle like. Anyone else? Gosh, I think that's my two main
That's the big
influences.
ones.
Yeah, those
Do
are the
you
big ones. Those are the ones that I grew up with. Yeah.
do you think? I mean, if you remove the comedy from the equation, do you think of yourself as a pop artist? Then is that how you would sort of define the sound you have?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I definitely think I could like, I love making comedy music, but I
Of course.
definitely could see myself making like non-comedy music, like serious stuff. Like I have. There's one serious song that I actually have released. Um, and I think I could do more of that. I just don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. But
Right.
yes, I do think I could like like it's weird. I have like a pop leaning, but I also have like a foot in like stuff like something like Bon Iver. I don't know if you know
Yeah. Yeah.
Bon
Yeah.
Iver. Yeah,
Sure. Sure.
That's another big. I should have mentioned that Bon Iver. That's another big inspiration. But like something like very emotionally honest and raw like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's weird. It's weird. I have a lot of like facets in my brain of like what I want my music to sound like, and I think that works for the comedy stuff because a comedy album can vary in sound and vary
Sure.
in vibes because like I have like stuff like Dave that's more piano focused. I have stuff like My Little E-Girl that's more guitar focused. I have stuff like Waiting Till Marriage that's just me attempting to rap. I think that definitely works for a comedy album.
Right.
So
Because even if you fail at attempting to rap, it's funny. The fact that
exactly. Yeah.
you're not a rapper makes it work. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's cool.
Now
So
if I
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say if I was Macklemore and I made a comedy, if I pulled a Macklemore, made a comedy song that accidentally blew up, then I'd be screwed. But
Yeah. Because you'd be expected to rap again.
yeah, which is not happening.
Right.
At least not happening frequently.
Right. Sure. Sure. So I guess like maybe it's a weird question, but who is this record for? Like, I mean, I know you want people who the obvious answer is like, oh, people who like funny music, right?
Yeah.
But do you kind of have a type of person in mind that would appreciate this?
That is a good
And it's
question.
kind of a weird question because you haven't really done this live much, right? So you're not
No,
really seeing what
no,
the reaction
no.
is from
Uh,
different demographics and shit.
yeah. I it's it. I would say the album is it very much fits with like people who are on the internet quite a
Okay.
bit. I mean, with the past like couple years, we're all a lot
We
on the
all are.
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I I think that is someone like especially that opening track, My Little E-Girl. That is the probably the most internety
Sure.
song on the album. But I think the rest is a lot more accessible. But I think it is a lot better. I think people who like go on the yeah. So this is my first time doing
It's all
like
good.
a serious interview like this. But yeah,
I do that, and I do this twice a week, so it's all. I get it. It's cool.
yeah. But honestly, I don't really have like a target demographic for this. Just if you like people like Bo Burnham, but if you like obviously Bo Burnham's like Inside, there was a lot of like production that went into that. But
Yeah, and that blew up over the pandemic, the huge way, right?
yeah. But if you like Bo Burnham, but gosh, this is such an interesting question. I've never thought of my music like outside of like my own like core fan base or like even
But that's
outside of
part of
people
the
who like
internet thing, right? That's part of because
exactly,
you're
yeah.
just putting it out there, and you
Yeah,
don't necessarily see the reaction coming back
exactly,
other
yeah.
than comments.
Yeah.
But it's not the same, right?
I do think that this album is very accessible, aside from that opening track.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this album could be I think there is a song for everyone on this album. I think like there's a song for people who are more on the internet, people who are songs for like I don't know, songs for people who are less on the internet, but still still like comedy music or whatever. People who don't necessarily like comedy music, but I don't know. It's just there's something on here for everybody, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I
Sorry,
think that's really the only answer anyone ever gives to that question. But I mean, at least you went through an interesting.
Yeah, I know. I've never been asked that before.
Yeah.
That's just a very interesting question.
Well, I guess like the reason I'm asking that too is, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I get the impression that you are of the internet generation where you just have like been born into it and it's been always around, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
I'm 40 this year. I remember a time before the internet, and I obviously spend a lot of time on it as I'm doing a podcast on here, and I'm involved. But it's a different. I think you have a different experience just having been
I do.
just like surrounded by it from day one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think there was like a brief moment when I wasn't aware of the internet, but the moment like my brother got his first PC, that was when it just all my time was spent in front of the internet. I watched like a lot of YouTube. I watched The Annoying Orange as a kid. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I haven't. No, I'm not sure what that is.
Good. It was I mean, it's in the title. It was annoying. And that's where most of the humor came from. That was my comedy as a kid. But I also grew up with stuff like Homestar Runner.
Yeah,
that was
that was great.
Yeah, that was this Flash animated cartoon that was just that's also a big influence on my comedy. Specifically on my comedy is a lot of strong bad stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I was an adult when those came out, but I've shown them to my kids now.
Yeah,
and like they love it too, and it's like across the generations for sure.
Yeah, it's timeless. It's timeless. I mean, it is very much like, I mean, maybe not the early episodes because they're very like primitive, like very old fat. That you can tell that they're like just starting, but like the later episodes, if I have kids, I'm gonna show them Strong Bad.
Yeah, my kids have watched all of them. They love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if people are hearing about you for the first time on this show, what's the best way to find you? Where's the best place to hear the record?
Literally, if you just go to my channel, Marshall Does Stuff, the album is there 100% free. You can just listen to it all the way through. I just have the whole album there. If you want to support me further, I very much appreciate that. You can stream it on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you get your music. And if you want to see me actually make like video content, you can have my YouTube channel. I also have TikTok. Cool. It's just Marshall Does Stuff as well. So yeah, that's where
you're out there. You're out there.
I'm out there. I'm out there. Yeah. You guys follow me on Twitter at Marshall of the Law. It's a stupid name. I made it when I was a lot younger, but there's that. There's Instagram as well. Marshall Does Stuff Official. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
You're findable.
I'm findable. Yes.
Awesome.
I don't have a Wikipedia page yet though. We're still working on that.
Right. That comes with time, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. I have to do something notable first.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's the important. That's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Cool.